Hello, my name's Mike Harris.
And I'm David Mower.
And between the two of us, we've got 40 years classroom experience.
True.
I've taught in Bolivia, in Colombia, in Britain and Spain for a long time.
Yeah, me too, in Spain for a long time. I started in Manchester and I've also taught in Morocco.
And we've been writing for 40 years as well, between the two of us, I hasten to add.
Yes, yes.
And, you know, we've met when we were teaching together, and we've written quite a lot of books, haven't we?
Yeah, we began with World Class, which developed into Worldwide for SO specifically, and then moved on to Opportunities, and finally now
Going Places, and that's where at the moment, we're going places with you at the moment, talking about our new course.
I think probably the biggest issue in secondary teaching at the moment is the shift in emphasis in the ministry guidelines from the old contenidos mínimos to the new competencias básicas. The old system, shall we say, prescribed the grammar areas that teachers were recommended to cover in the 4 levels of ESO. Now we have in the curriculum in general the competencias básicas, and specifically in languages what students should be able to do for each level of ESO. Regarding Going Places, I think we've addressed both of these areas actually. I think the change in attitude, the reaction from teachers will be a gradual one, not a dramatic, rapid one, and I think this is probably a good thing. What we have in Going Places is a very, very solid grammar syllabus. Any English teacher looking at it will know exactly where they are. But also we cover all the descriptors used in the new guidelines for the competencies that students need to have in each level of ESO.
Yeah, very important, I think that. And I think one of the other big issues, and it's been around for a long time, and it's still around, is the issue of motivation and getting teenagers, ESO students, motivated. And I think that's very, very important. I mean, it's been there for a long time, but it's even more important now. And I think there are two things here. And I think one of them is that teenagers are different now than they were a few years ago. We're talking about the digital generation, and they need a different approach, a different way of learning. I mean, somebody said the definition of a teenager was somebody who can't learn anything unless it's plugged in. And I think that's important. So one thing is the digital thing, and the other one is the issue of challenge. And sometimes people think that just because it's easy, people like it, it's good, it's motivating. Students, I think, need something that is challenging. When they play computer games, students want, teenagers want games that are challenging.
They're obsessed with the level in the game.
And they want things that are, I mean, there's a concept called hard fun. And I think that's important. I think there's a danger of trying to say, well, make it really easy, they don't have to make any effort, and that's it. You can, I think, make things challenging within a context and actually make it more motivating for students. Not just in terms of language, but in terms of topic, in terms of content, in lots of other things.
Okay, why should a teacher use Going Places? Well, quite simply, it's the best book around. It's got everything for everybody. If you want to just do it straight down the line in a traditional way, you can. If you want to go to the other extreme, if you have the facilities and you've got an interactive whiteboard, you can use that. You can make it longer if you want. There are many, many activities for both teachers and students.
In Going Places, you don't find new language until it's been presented. Now that really is important because every bit of new language is presented, so you know that you're not going to stumble across lots of new things in texts and that students will be thrown by it. The other thing is, as a teacher, that when you're going into a class, immediately if you look at a spread, you'll see how the lesson develops, where it develops, and it has very clear stages and very clear signposting, so that immediately you can see, just looking at it very quickly, where the lesson goes, what's in it. And also the lessons are very closely divided, so that each lesson in Going Places either has one page or there are 2 lessons for a double spread. And I think that's important. Being user-friendly is very, very important. And it looks easy, but actually it takes a lot of work to get that, to get a course book to be easy to actually use as a teacher.
GoingPlaces is an ideal book for students who have done English in primary school and who don't want to go backwards and go over some of the same ground again. They want to make progress throughout ESO and to reach a level which will be an excellent grounding for Baccharato.
Yeah, I think things have changed. You know, a few years ago people thought that ESO was one thing, that one book would do for all of ESO. I think those days are gone. I think now we realise that some ESO classes need very, very basic, very, very simple revision, very slow progress, and others actually don't want to go over all the same ground, as Dave said. And I think it is very important that there are very different classes out there, and our book, GoingPlaces, is actually aimed for classes where, you know, students have been learning a bit more and they don't want to just go over it again. And that's very important, I think, so that they don't get bored, because there's nothing worse than going over the present simple and the present continuous for the 15th time, and it's very demotivating. And I think motivation, as I said before, is the key here. And with classes where students have got more experience of learning and more knowledge, it's important to give them the challenge.